lineups.
That's correct.
You may not be able to withdraw your trade request either. Now, I haven't double-checked that yet, but that's what Eric claims.
Well, that probably makes sense because if you approve the trade, then all of a sudden it's instantaneous and you have those players.
So, of course, Chad Johnson has this great game against the Cleveland defense, so now he thinks he's the shit.
Yeah, I think in week 1 he started pulling out a jacket saying that he wanted to be in the Hall of Fame.
So he wanted to do what we call a trade back, which anybody who's been on the playground in elementary school knows that trade backs aren't always...
It sounds to me like we're just making up the rules as we go along.
Well, I don't think it's cool. Do you?
I think if he didn't want to do the trade, then he should have took it down. Granted, if he's going to sit there and all of a sudden watch it like a hawk, then obviously he has time to trade.
He's an Indian trader is what he is. Don't you think?
Call it as you see it. But you're the commissioner, and you obviously gave him
Well, I did. I went ahead.
where you said, you know what? Yeah, I'm waiting for a phone call here. I tried to get a hold of him. You know what? I'm going to do that trade. So I know you struggled with it all weekend long.
I did. It was a struggle. I struggled with the trade request, actually, because Larry Johnson's one of my founding... He's the only guy left on my first team.
He was a keeper. He was over your quarterback.
And I'm defending champion. I'm defending champion. And I had Larry Johnson on my team.
If you had to do over again, would you have got rid of Larry Johnson and kept your quarterback?
If I had to do it over again, I'd keep Larry Johnson and probably keep Carson Palmer.
Oh, really?
I miss Carson Palmer. Carson, I miss you.
Carson, the guaranteed points every game.
I don't like Sean Alexander all that much. And Sean Alexander's on the trading block, by the way. If anybody would like to offer a trade to me, you're more than welcome. I'm willing to listen to Sean Alexander.
Why all of a sudden, after only 2 weeks of football here, do you have such a
Well,
huge
I would like to correct you on that because I've been trying to trade Sean Alexander since the draft.
Hey,
in fact, I offered the Spades, Sean Alexander, for their first and third round draft pick, and he turned me down.
Well, it's a good thing that I did.
Yeah, because he wouldn't be off to that blistering 0-2 start.
Oh, in week 1, the Spades would have beat well over 75% of the teams in the league. I have an incredibly tough schedule coming up. I'm in a very difficult division. Johnny, on the other hand, was able to talk Mark into pulling down Wang and Tang, along with Smear the Queers. Well, there's another gimme.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you. I had no idea you were going through pain and persecution.
This week coming up on the Privateers, though, we guarantee victory.
Oh, Privateers. They're turning into this year's A-Dogs.
Yes, with Russell having huge amount of injuries on his bench, it's going to be a pretty hard one to not lose to.
All right, so we've kind of covered the 3 major stories that we have going on in the league this week. And like I said, the man horse still crying foul. They still think, and there was a recent post. Can you pull up that post for me real quick if you go down a little bit?
Yeah, you bet. Go to the message board.
Yes, please. The man horse is still crying foul over the trades out there saying, oh, anybody can trade everybody and everything's unfair and there's no checks and balance systems. Well, folks, there's a checks and balance system. There's a trade deadline. You're not going to want to make your trade, especially if you want to go down a little bit farther.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the man horse. I'm going to do the man whore voice. Even if the trade is lopsided and obviously benefits one team more than the other, so once my record is 0-8, I can trade all my good players to another player as long as we both agree on it. First off,
That'd be stupid.
And why is that, you think?
Because you're going to be able to keep 2 of those players for next year. And basically 90% of our players are carryovers. In other words, people that have been playing this year and the week before. How many new ones do we have this year? Smear the Queers and...
We outed the Smear the Queers.
That's our new one. Everyone else is carried over. So it'd be very stupid for you just to give up your entire team towards that.
I like how Dane predicts an 0-8 start.
Yeah, that's
He
great.
beat me to that punch because I was also predicting an 0-8 start.
Well, Dane, if you want to give me your best players, feel free.
And Dane, you're more than welcome to come on here and debate this issue. I think that nobody in the league seriously is going to make silly trades like that. If a trade, now the deal with the trades now is once the trade is made, since we don't have this problem happen again, they come to the commissioners. The commissioner has to approve them. So once I see a trade's been agreed on by both players, I will make a phone call to both players, just make sure that the trade is legit and they're all good with it, and then I'll accept the trade and the trade will be done. Now, if there's a trade that seems to be extremely lopsided, then I will talk to both players and see what's going on. We all know each other. We're all friends.
Yeah, it seems to me that Johnny has no problems giving out advice to all the teams out there to making sure that they know who to put in and who to bench and who to trade.
The commissioner office is always available for any kind of advisement.
The commissioner office is always available to the Busty Lusties anytime they need advice, and the A-Dogs.
The Busty Lusties.
The Busty Lusties.
All right, let's go down predictions for the week as
all right,
we're
let's
wrapping things up here. We'll get the Spades and myself's predictions.
All right, in week 3.
First up, we got Dr. Mo against the A-Dogs. Dr. Mo is a 43-point favorite. They've averaged 110 points a game. The A-Dogs a lowly 67. Robbie, let me give you a few background players to watch on here. Dr. Mo's got Steven Jackson, Torrey Holt from the Rams. Randy Moss has been a breakout player for Dr. Mo.
Holy smokes, it's worked now Moss got traded. That's big.
And Ben Roethlisberger has been solid. There was a trade turned down earlier from Dr. Mo and the Man Whores where I think the man horse is sending Mark Bolger, and Jason was adamant about sticking with Roethlisberger. He kept on saying, dude, Roethlisberger, dude, Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger's the shit. I'm going to make a sandwich called the Roethlisberger. So he's sticking with that so far. He's 2-0 against the A-Dogs. Their overall pick, Reggie Bush, has been a bust. The whole Saints have been a bust. Phillip Rivers, his number 2 pick, I'd say that's somewhat of a bust too so far. His saving grace has been Plaxico Burress, believe it or not. And he's got Michael Turner as the second running back. Robbie, who do you like in this game?
It's no doubt Dr. Mo's going to be walking away with it big time.
Yeah, I think this is an easy win for Dr. Mo.
Dr. Mo, it's obviously the schedule here has been packed in his favor because after that he's got Wang and Tang coming up.
Okay, when we predict him to go 3-0 in this, and the A-Dogs 0-3. Busty Lusty's, who've been averaging 100 points, she's a 17-point favorite against the newcomer, Smear the Queer's James Chapman. Not a whole lot of people out there know much about James Chapman. He's a redneck hick from Sandpoint.
Yeah, he took about 5 to 10 minutes to pick per plays. I'm surprised we didn't skip him.
He was in the bathroom most of that time. Taking a little bathroom break is what he said. Yeah.
Probably need to be present for the drafting. It'll help you out a lot.
But Smear the Queers is 1-1. They do have some decent talent on the team. Tom Brady, he got him in the second round, which I thought was a steal. His running back situation is actually, at first didn't look so good, but it's turning out to be okay. He drafted Adrian Peterson in the 4th round, the rookie running back out of Minnesota, who's now starting over Chester Taylor, who's hurt. Willis McGahee has picked up the slack in Baltimore, looking much better. And his top wide receiver, Sean McDonald, a free agent pickup that he got in week 2. The Busty Lusties have been a pleasant surprise at 2-0. They've got John Kitna, who came back from a concussion last week to play.
I heard about that. And he said he was completely fine, like he found God and he prayed and everything was good.
He thought it was a miracle from God. Her running backs, I think she's got the best running backs in the league, in my opinion. She's got Clinton Portis, Travis Henry, Chris Brown from Tennessee, who had a little bit of an off game last week, and Sammy Morris, for those of you guys who don't know, the backup out of New England, is actually scoring just about as many points as Lawrence Maroney. She's also got Jeremy Shockey. She's a 17-point favorite. Who do you like in this one, Robbie?
I'm going to have to go with the Busty Lusty on this one reluctantly, but yeah, you call it, she's got some awesome players there. She's got great running backs. I don't see too much stopping her.
Yeah, I agree. I think
the only thing that could happen to her is if she's going to be just devastated with injuries.
I think Smear the Queers had a good showing last week against the Rocks, put up 91 points. They're averaging 83, pretty good for a first-year player, but I'm going to go with the Busty Lusties as well to go 3-0. The Rocks come out, they're 1-1. They had a big game last week from Carson Palmer, 6 touchdowns. They've been averaging 101 points. This is a classic matchup. Mark against Dane. The Man Horse.
Clash of the Titans, right?
Man Horse 0-2. Another tough start for Dane, averaging 75 points. So the Rocks is a 26-point favorite. I've already mentioned Palmer. He's got T.J. Hushmanzada, Anquan Bolden, wide receivers. The problem with Mark is he's got Thomas Jones, kind of a question mark at running back, injured a lot. Jericius Norwood, who he benched last week, is his number 2 running back out of Atlanta. The Man Horse counter with actually, not bad people. Mark Bolger at quarterback, Brian Westbrook, Reggie Brown, the wide receiver out of Philly, Chris Chambers, who's been off and on from Miami. Who do you like here?
Boy, I'm thinking it's more of a toss-up than anything else. You're talking about a 20-point favorite for the Rocks, but I'm calling 50-50 on this one.
Yeah, I would say a little bit too. Carson Palmer's numbers inflated what the Rocks have been averaging a little bit. Who do you got here?
I'm going to have to go with Man Horse on this one, Johnny.
You know what? I'm surprised. I'm going to go with the Man Horse, too. Kind of an upset pick here. We think Dane's going to get off the schneid and get his first win of the year.
He needs a win.
Which will probably open up message board bragging rights a little bit.
Absolutely.
Which should be good. It's always good when we see the Man Horse on the message board. And the Rocks and their occasional message that kind of sucks penis. Okay, Robbie, let's get to your team. The 0-2 Spades going up against the 0-2 Privateers. Robbie, you've averaged 88 points. Actually, not that bad for an 0-2 team. You're a 33-point favorite against the beleaguered Privateers, Russell Reasoner's team, with Vince Young, Lawrence Maroney. Off year so far. Vince Young's won some games for Tennessee, but he's not a big fantasy number person. Who's that? Coles, the wide receiver for the Jets, and Joe Horner's 2 wide receivers. And this is Russ again. Brandon Jacobs, he picked him in the second round, injured in the first week. It's like clockwork that one of Russell's guys are going to go down hurt.
Yep, one of his big picks in the first 3 rounds are always just going to go down. That's the luck that Russ has.
And Robbie, how about your team? Got some named people on this year, people that we actually recognize, not the no-names that you usually draft each and every year. We got Terrell Owens, Jake Cutler, Rudy Johnson, the running back out of Cincinnati, Cedric Benson. How are you 0-2?
I don't know. My running backs just aren't producing. That's what happens when you keep them in the cellar for the preseason, not being able to come out. Basically, the first 3 to 4 weeks are going to be preseason for these guys. I think once they get their A game on, they'll be all right.
So I'm assuming you like yourself in this game.
I do. I think so. I think Terrell Owens going up against Chicago, I think they're going to be using him a lot. He'll be able to get open, give me at least 1 touchdown.
I agree. I think the Spades are going to get off the schneid as well and go to 1-2. And I think the Privateers, I think it's going to be a long, long year. Aaron London's going to be thankful this year that the Privateers are in the league. Bitch Mac